But musicals are huge at the moment, and American musicals, when you think about the successful American
but I have to say the musical I'm on at the moment, which is, as you know, Young Frankenstein, written by Mel Brooks. And Mel Brooks has done the book with Thomas Meehan, the lyrics and the music. And he's won an Oscar, he's won an Emmy, he's won a Tony. He's a complete Hollywood royalty. And he's been in that rehearsal room every afternoon.
Now, he is 90 now, isn't he,
91, I think. 91. So, and he's so sharp. And, of course, we're being directed by Susan Stroman, who is also a Broadway legend. So, and it's really weird for me, because last year I had a really good year. I did Strictly, I did Birds, I did Panto, and I did Annie, the musical.
You did Big Brother's bit on the side.
Of course I did. Big Brother's bit on the side with somebody called Ryland. And then I thought, how do I, not top it, but how do I keep that wonderfulness going?
Yeah.
And then when I came out of Strictly, my agent sent me an email saying, we'd love you to meet Mel Brooks to do the musical of Young Frankenstein. So I thought, oh, yeah. Anyway, I got together, did a 2-hour sort of workshop, sent it over to America, and 8 days later they rang and said, you've got the part.
Oh.
And I burst into tears. I just sat in the car sobbing, thinking, oh, my God, I'm going to be working with Mel Brooks. Hadn't met him, and then Ross Noble, who's playing Igor, and I met Mel at the Savoy.
Well, yeah, let me ask you about this, because didn't you have a few beverages before you met Mel Brooks?
Well, yes. Ross had no clothes to wear, because he always wears old sort of working things.
He didn't arrive nude, he didn't
arrive nude, but he stopped at the clothes shop to buy trousers, shoes and a jacket, left by mistake all his clothes in the clothes shop. So he arrived practically with the label still on. I was meeting Mel Brooks, so I had one champagne, and then I had another champagne.
Because I know
And then Mel arrived, and he said, what would you like? And I said, I'll have champagne. He said, you're killing me! You're killing me! And then when we got to the end, I'd had about 4 or 5. Then, for some reason, I showed him a picture of me in my underwear.
Wait,
Why
did you
ask why?
Why?
I don't know. Because I'd just come out of Strictly. Backstage, I'd done I thought it was wonderful, a picture in this little bob of me in my underwear looking like Cheetah Rivera, smoking a hairbrush. For some reason, I thought Mel might be interested in that.
You thought that might be a good sort of maybe wardrobe idea for Frau Blücher.
Now,
your character.
This is my character, who is and was the housekeeper of the Frankenstein estate, and Victor used to run the Frankenstein, and he was the man that changed brains and did all that, created the monster. He dies, it goes to his grandson, who then comes. So I come out and greet and say, welcome to Castle Frankenstein. I am Frau Blücher. But for some reason, every time she says Blücher, or anybody says Blücher, the horse's name.
But that's a Mel Brooks type joke, isn't it? I mean, when you think back, the producers, Blazing Saddles, there are always those lovely running gags.
There are.
That just, you laugh more and more each time it happens.
But it's interesting, because before we get... And working with Americans is so wonderful. And so, Susan Stroman, I can't tell you, it's just been a joy. But whatever you do, she says, be fearless. So we were off the books by the time we got onto the floor, and I never normally do that, because I like to know who I am, where I'm coming from, what my motivation is.
Work on it as you go.
We were on it, and that was it. And she said, you have to enter Mel's mad world. And it is. These characters are extraordinary, but somehow they're completely real, and that's like true farce is always based on reality. The characters have to be. So Frau Blücher is mad as a hatter, speaks with a thick German accent.
I mean, it sounds like you without the accent.
That's something you want to tell me.
So well perceived.
But it is the accent.
Yes. Is there a number that I mean, there are always going to be big numbers in Mel Brooks.
The hands have gone like this. Just think about it.
Method.
I know, method. She sings "He was my boyfriend."
He was my
boyfriend, which she's talking about.
It's a slight nod to Phantom there, I felt.
A slight nod to Kurt Weill and that sort of, yes. And, the thing is, they're all very unusual, very typical Mel Brooks characters. And we're playing at the Garrick Theatre, which is a wonderful, intimate theatre. This was a show that was on Broadway, and they took... Mel wanted to rewrite it, reconceive it, and make it much more smaller and much more smaller. Anyway, much more vaudeville.
Yes.
So there's just 7 principals and a very, very talented ensemble. And everybody does a lot. So everybody, however many there are of us, sort of 18 or something, carry the show through, and everybody everybody does everything, and it's much more intimate.
And it's a real team effort, this show.
It really is.
Because I know how much you love doing Annie. I
Oh,
was
I
obviously
loved
working with
doing
you
it. I love
alongside when you were doing
musicals.
Annie.
Yeah.
You know, and I consider it's a great privilege at my age. And I'm sitting there, and Mel throws me out, thinking, "No, don't do that." It was terrifying. The first read-through we had, when Mel came over, I must have started my song 5 times. He said, "No, do that, do that."
So he's
And I
still
was like,
he's giving notes
Yes!
and changing it all the time.
And then you suddenly think, oh, my goodness, I'm sitting here being given notes by Mel Brooks. Mel Brooks is in the room. And now it's sort of completely wonderful.
But I have to say, I have had the privilege of knowing I knew Leslie's mum. And I have to tell you that ageing is not in the genes of the Joseph family. They
Your
get
mum?
younger and
She
younger
passed
and
away
younger.
last year, nearly 104. But this is a woman who played tennis into her 90s, did yoga every morning till she was about 98. And that's the one thing, you know, when Susan Stromer first met me, she said, "Are you fit? Because I'm going to use you." And I said, yeah, yoga all the time. And Simon Strallen, who's
Because,
also...
Lesley,
does
you
yoga
do
every morning.
look amazing for your age. You really, really do. You haven't aged. You are Dorian to me. You always will be. You will never age.
Age
How do
doesn't
you do
actually
it?
apply
How
to
do you.
you.
Do
It doesn't.
I don't know. I think because I love what I do, because I walk everywhere, I do yoga all the time, I exercise, and I have a passion for life. It's
The first day we rehearsed together, I never forget, Lesley had arrived looking fantastic. She had walked right across London to get to the rehearsal room.
I know.